My wife believes she is pregnant with twins. Every pregnancy test says otherwise. My wife, male 42, and I have been married for 2 years and have been together for 15. We had either not chosen to have children or had difficulty becoming pregnant throughout this period. We discovered that owing to various medical concerns with her, it was almost impossible for her to get pregnant after some medical tests. We were thinking about adopting when she came home one day and informed me she was pregnant. Of course, I was overjoyed. We had a gynecologist appointment a week later, and she had some blood taken. I was horrified when the test came back negative, but she wasn't. She said she was pregnant and that the doctor was mistaken. We took several more store-bought ones and they were all negative. My wife is completely delusory. She now believes we're expecting twins. She's buying them clothing and decorations, and she's putting pressure on me to start building the nursery. I'm at a loss for words and don't know what to do. My inactivity gives her the impression that I intend to abandon them and would condemn my wife to the life of a single mother. What the hell is going on? I adore her, yet I'm at a loss for words. Update. It hasn't been that long, but I still need your input on the same subject. I phoned our primary care physician and informed him of the situation. He appeared worried and invited us to meet him the following morning. He stressed the need of being compassionate while not feeding into her illusions. I sat down with her and we spoke. All she wanted to speak about was when I would start working on the nursery, how we were running out of time, how she had picked the ideal color for the room, and how she wanted me to be more engaged in her pregnancy. I tried to remain cool, but seeing her in that state bothered me. I invited her to accompany me to the doctor's office the next day. She answered okay. She wanted to check on the infants in any case. Now I've taken your advice and words about being cool and asked her why she believes she's pregnant without labeling her as deluded. As a result, I did. She kept shifting the topic or adding a mother can't help but feel it. You have no idea how it feels, I responded, adding that I loved her so much that I would never consider abandoning her, but that we needed to go to the doctor to check her gut sense. She became furious and started weeping, telling me that if I wanted to leave her, I could just go, but I shouldn't call her a liar. I managed to calm her down enough for her to go asleep. I got on her computer after she did. I never eavesdrop on her, but I recalled a poster mentioning forums regarding cryptic pregnancies, so I went on a hunt. Oh, no. She was a member of 2 Facebook groups. One was a regular mommy Facebook group, while the other was for ladies who thought they were pregnant. In the normal group, she would post updates about her symptoms and pictures of her belly, as well as her story about how she was almost unable to have children, but thanks to the grace of God that kissed her tummy, the gift of life was given to her, and how she was compensated for all of her years of suffering with twins. The ladies in the other group were truly, and pardon me when I say this, nuts. They were feeding off of one other's fantasies. A lady said that she was over 2 years pregnant, and that sometimes things simply take longer. My wife would complain about physicians who didn't take her seriously and about me on there. So many ladies were instilling dread in her that I would abandon her. Men can't stay with a woman, they say. Many others shared experiences of how their marriages fell apart because their wives couldn't handle the pregnancy. I was terrified. I looked into phantom pregnancies and discovered that they might be an indication of schizophrenia. So, to put it mildly, I couldn't sleep. I was and still am terrified of losing her. I pretended nothing was wrong when she awoke. We were on our way to the doctor, and it was as if nothing had occurred the day before. She was certain we were heading to the doctor for a pregnancy checkup. When we started talking to the doctor, things went pretty awful. When he spoke to my wife, he was diplomatic. He attempted to explain to her that she couldn't be pregnant since it was medically impossible. We attempted to show her the tests and the ultrasound from the day before, but nothing worked. She became more irritated and started to yell and shout at me for making her seem insane. She started bouncing back and forth, both hands on her head. We couldn't calm her down, so she had a panic attack. She couldn't take a breath. The doctor put her down and attempted to soothe her with drugs, but it didn't work, since he didn't have the instruments to manage such a severe panic attack. She had to travel to the hospital, where she was treated. An EKG was performed to rule out the possibility of a heart attack. I had no choice but to inquire about involuntary commitment at that time. As a result, I couldn't do it myself. I required my doctor's declaration that she was a threat to herself and others, and that he had to start the procedure of an involuntary 72-hour assessment. Following that, we'll have to submit a written declaration to the court to establish that she may be there against her will. So far, I've submitted all of her postings to both Facebook groups, as well as the timing test we ran when feasible. My wife is 2 days into a 3-day test, and I haven't spoken to her in 2 days. When I last saw her, she was enraged. She said I was robbing her of her liberty, which I am. I felt disgusting, filthy, and worthless. She is furious with me. I feel like I'm abandoning her, and I'm not sure she'll ever forgive me. I adore her to the core of my being. I'm worried about what will happen if the courts rule that I can't commit her, and how that would affect our lives. I feel like I didn't do enough to protect her. I'm simply rambling at this point. Sorry for the lengthy rant. I suppose I just needed to vent, since I don't have anybody else to turn to that is willing to listen. I feel scrutinized and pitied by everyone. I despise it. I apologize for any spelling errors. Story 2. My fiancée slept with her co-worker, then left me for him. Where do I even begin? I got engaged 6 months after dating her for 3 years and had to call it quits last week. She works at a huge financial firm and is generally gone till late at night. I didn't suspect anything was wrong since I was aware of the nature of her profession. This was her routine for the duration of our engagement. Her conduct began to shift around a month ago, in my opinion. She was arriving home late at night, possibly around midnight, and still having to wake up at 6:30 a.m. for work. This struck me as odd since her job title had not changed, and she had seldom had to stay so late for work in the past. In addition, when I did see her about the home, she seemed disinterested in communicating and was hooked to her phone. This was, once again, quite uncommon conduct. I didn't have any hard evidence, but I became suspicious. Finally, about a week ago, she reappeared at midnight. I happened to be awake at the time and gently inquired as to where she had been. I immediately saw she was inebriated. The explanation was that her employer made her go to a late supper, but it was full of holes, and I knew something was up at this point. After she went to bed, I checked her phone and discovered she was messaging her coworker about going on dates, concealing things from me, and other dubious activities. We had a big fight in the morning because I wanted to know why she cheated on me. It all came down to her being bored with and wanting to be with other men to spice things up. This was startling and terribly hurtful to me. I asked her to leave, returned the ring, and severed all relations. I'm not even sure how much of a loss I'll incur since I waited so long to sell them. At the very least, we won't face any legal issues in the future. Right now, I'm looking for any benefits. The whole explanation of her desire to cheat still irritates me. I never received an explanation for why I was so dull. I'm not sure why I was deemed insufficient. I've been studying the Kama Sutra and Tantra for a few years and have developed a few of my own methods. The majority of what I'm explaining is rather sophisticated. When I mount from the back and do broad squats, I can usually reach the G-spot, and I can also frog from beneath while utilizing my hips. I'm skilled with my fingers since I play guitar, and my speaking abilities have improved. To cut a long tale short, I practiced this. I'm not sure whether this man was better than me or what, but it's horrible to think she damaged our future marriage for such a childish ambition. I read on her social media that she's now seeing this new man, and I'm curious how long it will be until she does the same to him. I'm beginning to feel better, but I'm still digesting everything. I'd want to share this with everyone here in order to receive some input. I'm going insane since I have no one to speak to. If anybody has been cheated on in this manner previously, I'm hoping you can put some light on my predicament.